Yes. Okay, so here we go. This is a 1972 Fender Precision Bass. And it's got some scuffs and scrapes. It's been well used. It's well used. But the colors are pretty vibrant. It's not all original, as you could probably tell, but the body, this body is original. This bridge is original. These pickups are original, but they've been rewound because they were somewhere in the 90s when I had this bass put back together again from I'll tell you about it in a minute. But had the bass put back together again. A friend of mine, Harvey Citron, who was the one of the owners of Vayette Citron Guitars, and now the owner and main guitar guy for Citron Guitars, he graciously offered to put back together my bass guitar. I had taken it apart to build my my guitar parts company. I made bass. I made all kinds of guitar parts, guitar bodies, and I started making necks as well. But the guitar bodies that I put together were built from templates that I made from the guitars that I had purchased to take apart to put together. This one I did not purchase to take apart. This was my axe, and I used it for a number of years. I didn't take it apart until I got an order for a bass, and then I took it apart. While it was apart, my shop was broken into, and I had out of the guitars that I had taken apart, they didn't steal the whole guitar. They only stole certain parts. So this one, I lost the neck. My Tele Deluxe, I lost the neck as well. My Strat, I lost the body. So I've got most of the parts from those other guitars, and except for they're not complete. I don't have any more complete guitars from the 70s that I had bought, and I had bought them in the 70s. Anyway, this is one of my basses, and the neck that I put on this back in the 90s was a neck that I had gotten. I think it was as a sample, or I purchased them. I'm pretty sure it was a sample because I had gotten a lot of interest from Japanese companies looking to break into the American market, selling their parts. Parts was not a major thing. It was an infant industry at the time, and my company was one of only two in the world that were making these parts, the body parts, and I was the only one that was making them and selling them as the company that was making them. The company Charvel that was selling the body parts, they weren't manufacturing them. They were buying them from Boogie Bodies, and Boogie Bodies was run by two guys. Lynn Ellsworth, I think, was one, and Ken Warmoth's dad was the other. So Warmoth and Ellsworth, I think it was Ellsworth, were manufacturing Boogie Bodies, and they went out of business. For some reason, the partners split up, and Warmoth was I think the brains behind the machine building. So he was making machines dedicated or specifically to make the body parts. That's my understanding. I'm not sure, but because his son Ken really loved the business, he remained, and he used his dad's expertise to build Warmoth guitar parts. And Ken was a great. I heard recently that he passed. He didn't pass recently, but I heard about it recently, and I was very, I was kind of sad about that. Ken was he was a great guy. I met him a couple of times at the NAMM shows, and he was he was a wonderful, wonderful human being, and he loved what he was doing. I don't know what part of it he loved, but he did love what he was doing. He was a guy who was very passionate about what he did, and he was very happy in what he was doing. So kudos to Ken, and best wishes to his family. But anyway, this is off on tangents here. This is what old age is. I've got this precision bass, and what I'd like to do is, because this is an old Japanese import. It was definitely 70s, because that's when I got this stuff, was in the 70s. This is a Japanese import. I think it was, I don't know who manufactured it, but the company that sold it, I think their name was Paco, P-A-C-O, Paco. And it comes with a brass nut. And what I want to do is I want to take this neck off of this body and put on, I just got some Fender high-end PBass necks. And I've got an American manufactured PBass neck. I think it's the Professional 2. I got a number of them. So I want to put the Professional 2 neck on here and see how it plays. My interest is in selling this guitar. I like to sell the bass. I don't know if I'm going to sell it complete with the new Fender bass neck, or if I'll just sell the bass body with the parts. This pickup was rewired by Harvey. Harvey has his own little workshop in his home. He makes his own pickups. When he found out that this pickup was dead on arrival, he asked if I'd like to rewire it. If I would let him rewire it for me, which I did, and he offered me to rewire it to the same specs as original, or if I wanted to beef it up a little bit. So I had him beef it up a little bit, as long as he was rewiring it, make it a little punchier, which is what he did. And it does come out to, I think, 12 versus 10. I think it was like 10 10K ohms was the resistance, or whatever they call it, and now it's about 12 something. So it is a little beefier than the original, or supposedly what the original is. I never really checked the original that came out of here, but I do know the stats, supposed stats for the car. I mean, for the guitar. Under here, the great-grandson of Leo Fender told me he saw the pictures of this, and he mentioned online that these look like stack pole pots, which are original, and he said it's not original wiring, which is the way it should be. It was because it was rewired by Harvey, who had to reconnect these things. So I don't know if some of it might be original wiring, but I'm sure that the connection from the pickup to the pots is not original. And I think that the cap is original. I'm pretty much sure that the wiring here is original, except for the wiring job itself, and perhaps even the wires might not. They're definitely not those pushback wires, but that isn't. I don't think they use the pushback from the factory. Anyway, so I'm gonna take this apart, and I'm gonna put on another neck. And that's what I plan to do now. So let's see what happens. And by the way, it's not a bad neck. You want to look at the neck. It's not a bad neck. I mean, it's kind of nice. But it is not a Fender neck. I don't know how much I'm going to get done, and I don't know how much I'm going to record of this right now, but I'll let this run for a little bit. Really not crazy about that nut. That's a brass nut. You know, back at that time in the 70s, brass was like the big thing. Everybody wanted some kind of brass nuts, brass saddles, brass bridges. Everybody was into brass. And you know what? Brass did have more, seemed to have given more sustain to the instrument using those brass accessories. But I don't know that I care for them too much. The way they look, and I don't like that they do change. You know, I made a lot of guitar bodies, and I made a number of guitar necks. And frankly, I never really was happy with the necks that I made. I never really had enough time producing them to be happy with them. And I didn't sell that many necks. I didn't offer too many for sale because they weren't coming out to my satisfaction. I made quite a number of all rosewood, 100% rosewood necks, rosewood boards and rosewood necks. And the way I made them was with the truss rod. The truss rod put in from the top rather than the back with the stripe. So my manufacturing process was more along the lines of the original. I never really figured out or delved into the striped back, the back entrance to for the truss rod. And I certainly never made any with the truss rod at the headstock. But I made my own truss rods, and I purchased, yeah, even this here is made in Japan. It says it right on it. This was a Japanese. Let's see what we got here. Oh, came right out. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so there we go. Put this on the side. And here we have it. The inside says A something and the number 5. And these are definitely, I'm pretty sure that these are not made with a CNC router. Now I know CBS did have CNC routers. They did buy them. Looks like this was, it's not quite as flat. Looks like it's cut away over here a bit. I don't know what's going on there. I don't think that was done after the factory, but you never know. You never know. It's a used instrument. Let me see what we have. I think I want to put a maple neck on here. So let's see what we have. Oh no, I wanted to put, I'm not putting a maple neck on here. I'm putting a rosewood neck. It's the Pro 2 rosewood. Go. There we go. This is the rosewood board, Fender. Original Fender, beautiful board. Beautiful neck. Really feels nice over here. It's straight as an arrow. Really nice neck. Let's see how it fits. I'm pulling off that pick guard because I don't really care much for how it's fitting over here. I just want to make sure it's not in the way. So Okay, so here we go. Ah, there's the numbers. I didn't see the numbers last time I was looking for them. Okay, so the stack pole, I could see the numbers. Okay, I'll figure that out later, what they're from, but right now I just want to see about how this fits in this neck slot. It's interesting, huh? These neck slots. Fits better in here than it does from that. I wonder if... Now this has not been scraped away, so there's still paint like on here. So interesting. Cool. So that one does fit right in there. Yeah. That one, only one of them fits. These other holes The other holes for the neck don't line up, but this one does. This top hole lines up, so I get that top hole in there and I'll be able to mark out the other holes and drill them. Pretty simple, I think. Let's see how that works. And I'm thinking that I should I'm going to use this original Fender with the F, because that's the way the 70s came. I'll put that on. Original Fender equipment made in China. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Cool. Perfect fit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check something out. I want to see these new Fender screws are not the same as the old screws. And I got a whole bunch of the old screws. These, back in the 70s, you could not get parts. Parts were very difficult to come by, and for my business, I needed the parts. And I used to have to go to my customers. These are not them. My customers had who are Fender repairmen, had access to parts, replacement parts for Fender warranty work. But I've got them someplace else. I'm going to go get them and see